What's going on, everybody? David here, back with another video. So we're going to talk a little bit about this infrastructure bill and the potential for another round of stimulus checks. But first off, you guys can do me a favor. Please hit the like button. It does help with the YouTube algorithm. Also, please subscribe to this channel. Hit that little bell notification. That way you'll get notified anytime we put out a video. Okay, so I'm going to show you this video. This is Senator Cornyn and Senator Coons. They're going to be talking about this infrastructure bill. And I think it's very, very interesting, the conversation that they're having, because it looks like they want, and we've heard this talk before, that they want to do a separate bill that just focuses on roads, bridges, railways, and then focus on this other stuff, these other social programs. They want to focus on another bill to address those. And this is good news. This is good news for people who are hoping that there'll be a stimulus check in this next infrastructure bill as a whole. Because if you break it up, then you have more opportunity to kind of slide some of those different things in there. And so as long as you can get this core infrastructure bill that they're talking about, as long as you can get that passed, then now if you can get it passed with the Senate without doing budget reconciliation, then now you can focus on something that has more social programs, and you could add some type of a tax credit. So I want to show you the clip first, and then after that, we're going to talk a little bit about it on the other end. I think Senator Coons has a really good response here, and we'll stop and we'll talk a little bit about that because we kind of get lost in the whole Democrat, Republican. We get lost in that, and we forget about the main reason for these politicians being in office. So let me play the clip, and then we'll talk a little bit about it.
I think it's fair to say that the biggest issue right now is infrastructure. And Senator Coons, you made an interesting proposal this week, which is, take what everybody agrees is infrastructure, highways, bridges, roads, expanding broadband, comes to about $800 billion. Pass that on a bipartisan basis, Republicans and Democrats, and then the rest of it, which is another $1 trillion of much more questionable infrastructure, that Democrats would pass that on a straight party line basis on reconciliation. The question I have for you, Senator Coons, is what's in it for Republicans to agree to a plan in which Democrats can act bipartisan to pass part of the bill, but then they ram the rest of it through on a party line reconciliation vote?
Okay, before he answers this, you heard what the interviewer asked him, right? Like, what's in it for the Republicans? And that's the problem that we have right now. That's the problem that we're having with Congress, with politicians in general. It's Democrat or Republican. What's in it for them? No, not what's in it for them. And Senator Coons responds in this way. It's not what's in it for them. It's what's in it for the people, the American people. That's who you represent. You should not be representing just your party. You should be representing the people. What's in it for the people? How can the people benefit from these roads, bridges, and railway? How can these people benefit from these social programs? That's what it's all about. We got to get away from this Democrat-Republican thing because it's tearing the country up. Because now you have politicians that they don't want to represent the people. They just want to represent the party. So here's the response.
Well, Chris, the broader question you're really asking is what's in it for our country and what's in it for the people we represent from our states if Republicans and Democrats work together to solve problems. I think that if we come together in a bipartisan way to pass that $800 billion hard infrastructure bill that you were talking about, that I've been urging, then we show our people that we can solve their problems. We've all agreed for a long time that we need to invest more in American infrastructure. We just disagree about how to pay for it. And I think in the next few weeks, we should roll up our sleeves and sit down and find ways that both parties can support to make these critically needed investments. That's here at home. But, Chris, it's also critical for our standing in the world. The worst thing that could happen to Xi Jinping that would ruin his day would be for him to see Republicans and Democrats working together in the Senate and the House to solve the problems facing the American people in partnership with President Biden. That's showing that our framers' vision of principled compromise in Congress can still work. And so whether it's working with John on a basic bill about teaching civics in our schools, or it's working together with John on the more challenging issues of immigration or mental health or gun violence or investing in infrastructure, I think we have to show folks we can and will do our best to work together.
Senator Cornyn, would Republicans ever agree to that? Yeah, we'll play bipartisan with you to pass $800 billion in hard infrastructure, but then understand that you're going to go ahead and pass the rest of it, another $1 trillion plus, raising taxes through a straight party line vote. Ram it through.
Well, in the interest of bipartisanship, I'll agree that Senator Coons is half right. There is a core infrastructure bill that we could pass with appropriate pay-fors like roads and bridges, and even reaching out to broadband, which this pandemic has exposed a great digital divide in the country. We've seen advances in telemedicine. We've seen more people learning online. I think we could all agree to that. But I think that's the part we could agree on. So let's do it and leave the rest for another day and another fight.
Okay, so one thing that I like is both senators were on at the same time. A lot of times you don't see that on these different shows. You're going to have one will talk first and then the other one will talk later. But this was good that they had them on at the same time. So looking at this, the main focus here is going to be how to pay for it. Okay, and both Senator Cornyn and Senator Coons, they said that it comes down to how we're going to pay for this. They're both on board for more infrastructure. They want to build these roads and bridges, but how are you going to pay for it? And so we've heard different things thrown out there, like the gas tax, which is not something that I'm for. I'm more for the raising the corporate tax rate than basically taxing everyone as a whole. I think we need to kind of even out the playing field when it comes to our taxes anyway, because the middle class and the working class, we're paying more in taxes than these major corporations. And so that should not be a thing. That we shouldn't be looking at a situation like that. But nonetheless, that's what they're talking about right now. And when it comes to the stimulus checks, if you could do this $800 billion roads and bridges infrastructure bill, well, then you can put this either American Families Plan, you can put them together, or however they want to work that. You can do budget reconciliation to make that happen. And if you use this second bill, if you use budget reconciliation to get this second bill through, there is a possibility, and you're still going to have politicians. Right now, there's 74 lawmakers right now that think that we need another round of stimulus checks. That could grow. And then we're also looking at President Biden. And I did a more detailed video where I said the 5 things that need to happen in order for us to receive another stimulus check. I'll post that link at the end of this video. Now, I think there's still a possibility. I think it's at around 40%. That's just my prediction, but it could happen. It could actually happen. And so we'll have to see how they move with this. But I definitely think if you break it up and you have this roads and bridges infrastructure bill and then focus on the social or the human infrastructure that they want to focus on, I think there's a real good possibility to have something in there, some direct payments. And then you also have to look at this. You have this child tax credit. This is going to start. This was already approved in the last stimulus package. This is going to start in July. So if you have children, you're going to be receiving reoccurring payments, $300, $250, depending on how old your child is. So what about the rest of the people who don't have children? Shouldn't they have some type of tax credit? That's what we're talking about here. Okay. So when you say stimulus checks, it really turns some people off. They hear stimulus checks, they hear free money. When you say tax credit, when they hear tax credit, they hear, okay, well, that makes sense. We want to cut taxes. We want tax credits. So start calling it direct payments, tax credit. That's where we need to focus. And why not have that for people who do not have children? Okay. So not only do people who have children get a credit, but what about people who don't have children? So that's where I'm hoping this goes next. If you guys have any questions, post them down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.